Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of The Shed. It's Dale and John and our friend Ronnie. So we're going to talk a little bit about a trip that Ronnie and his wife took here about a year ago, 2 years ago?
September 2016.
September 2016. So the trip was the TAT. And John and I have always talked about the TAT and stuff, so it's best to talk to somebody who actually did the TAT. Tell us what you did to prepare for the TAT.
First off, we started out just doing a lot of backroads riding, gravel riding. We knew that we were going to plan for maybe 150 to 250 mile a day rides, given the time frame that we were going to be doing it in. So we just planned out some routes around our area and started doing some rides and getting used to what time frame and how long we'd ride each day, how we'd plan gas stops, stuff like that. Then once we got used to doing that, then we loaded up the bikes with all the gear we thought we'd be carrying to get used to the weight of the bike and how it's going to handle differently, and just kind of gave it a go.
How much seat time do you think you put in before you actually took off?
Specifically for that trip, probably not a whole lot, but we ride on a regular basis anyways.
Okay, because you guys do a lot of off-road riding and stuff like
Correct,
that too,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Between off-road dirt riding, dual sport riding.
Cool. I know a lot of people have a question of what kind of bike they ride or whatever. What kind of bikes did you guys take on your trip?
I was riding a 2014 KTM 690 Enduro R. She was on a 2014 Kawasaki KLX 250S.
Okay. Is there any specific way that you outfitted those to make sure that they were more comfortable or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely put better seats on them. We did luggage racks to hold all the different luggage we'd be carrying. Upgraded protection bits, skid plates, hand guards. Better set of tires, and we put fresh tires on each bike before we left.
Cool.
Extra fuel capacity, definitely need fuel capacity on a trip like that.
What kind of fuel capacity, or what did you use for your fuel capacity? What tanks or?
Yeah, she used an IMS, what was it, about a 3.5, 4 gallon tank, I think. And I had my stock tank and then a Safari tank on my 690, which in retrospect was overkill and actually kind of ruined it for me. It was too much.
Yeah. So what would you recommend if you had a 690? What would you recommend for a tank to take on the tank, or to take on the TAT?
Personally, if I was going to do it again, I'd probably just go with the stock tank and maybe either like a Rotopack or Rotopacks, or I've seen some of the fuel bladders people use. I don't think that carrying 6 or 7 gallons of fuel is necessary for a bike that gets 50 miles a gallon.
Right.
If you're riding it conservatively.
Probably enough gas stations along the way.
There's quite a few gas stations. It's not terribly hard. There's a few sections in particular when we normally scouted out our route or we planned ahead how much we're going to ride, where we need to fill up. One section in Arkansas that we maybe did 150 or so miles and then was looking for gas, but it really wasn't bad.
So where did you start the trail? Where did you finish? And how many days were you out? How many days and nights?
We only had 7 days, the vacation time we had allowed. So we started in Beebe, Arkansas, and we rode to Westcliff. Was it Westcliff? Yeah. Westcliff, Colorado.
Behind the cameras is the boss, so just letting everybody know.
Yeah, she knows all the notes because she helped plan. After we got to Westcliff, we had arranged to have our family meet us out in Colorado with a truck so that we could haul the bikes back. That way we'd get the most riding time in.
Amen.
Did you run into any big surprises, just you weren't expecting, like some crazy things happen?
Nothing too terribly crazy. We did come into, was it when we first started, it was a holiday weekend. And one of the first nights, or was second night, I think, we were going to camp, all the campsites were booked everywhere. Within like 100-mile radius, we couldn't find a campsite anywhere. And so we were freaking out. Didn't know like if we were going to have a place to stay. We tried calling a hotel. There's no place to sleep. And while we were sitting at a gas station, literally just sitting there against the building, this couple pulled up on some bikes and started chatting and talking and asking what we were doing, seeing we had the bikes loaded up and everything. And like, oh, well, we got a place right down the road where you could just set up tent, out in this field. Nice. People come down there to hunt and camp. And so we ended up meeting some locals. They took us back cool. and got to camp experience. Out. Yeah, it was great.
Mel, that has to be one of your favorites. You have another favorite experience from the 7 days, something that just really sticks out as if you could bottle that or redo that part, and just that was your favorite part of the trail or your favorite day?
There's a few particular spots that I really liked, but one of the best parts for me, coming out of New Mexico, you come up this like switchback, and you come from the lowlands, and you switch back up this rocky kind of goat trail, and then you get to a plateau, and you come out, and then it's Colorado and the mountains behind you, and that going from Oklahoma, which was kind of flat and boring, and then you come into
Sorry, Oklahoma.
sorry,
No,
Oklahoma.
we're not, Oklahoma.
Going from the flat, boring section to once you're coming up that rocky trail, and then you come out and you hit this plateau, and then all of a sudden you see everything everywhere you've been down low, and then you see everything in front of you that you're heading to. It was just, awesome experience. Really kind of put things into perspective, or change your perspective of what you were used to.
Yeah. Was there anything that Chrissy, since she doesn't want to be on camera, that was her favorite part?
I mean, I really liked Arkansas. That was a great place.
Yeah.
But after you get to Colorado, you kind of, I don't know, we got to Colorado, and it's like Arkansas was just kind of in the back part of my head, and then I kind of forgot what some of the trails were there, but that was a really beautiful place. And then you hit Colorado, and we actually got into West Cliff, and we did our own route to Colorado Springs.
Oh, wow.
And one of those was Phantom Canyon Road,
Phantom
which
Canyon.
isn't on
Oh,
it,
yeah.
but
It's not part
it
of the
was
TAT, but it's
beautiful.
amazing.
I know where the Phantom
That
Canyon
was-
area is.
That was my favorite section, I think, to ride, just because of the different terrain that you hit, and it was just beautiful.
Worth it.
Yeah, it was worth
Yeah.
it.
That's a good
Definitely.
insider tip.
What was the worst thing about the TAT?
The worst thing about the TAT. Is there really
Would you say
anything
worst
bad?
or maybe toughest thing?
No, probably. I'm going to say the
Wasn't
worst.
tough.
Okay.
The worst
All
thing
right.
about the TAT, because there's always the best things about the TAT.
Yeah.
What was the worst thing about the TAT that you wish that could have been different, or you could have changed, that maybe people would want to know?
Well, we started in September, and it was awfully hot. I mean, it was close to, I think, 95 degrees when we started.
So you're saying maybe start a different time of year?
Not necessarily, because when you're in the mountains, it's going to be cold.
Right.
So it's give or take. I like it a little cooler temperature, which
Yeah.
doesn't matter really. But
So you're saying stay in a hotel?
I mean, if you really wanted to, you could. Parts of Oklahoma, again, were kind of flat, and I think there could have been maybe a possibly more interesting route. But
It's been around a long time, so there's not been a lot of changes, I guess, since then. Maybe there has been, but
There's no changing Oklahoma, though.
I mean, there's some good parts of Oklahoma.
coming
The
into
beginning of Oklahoma was beautiful, just rolling plains.
Right.
Yes,
And
yeah, coming right out of Arkansas there. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I know there's like
There's
up
lots
towards
of
the northern
farmland.
part. Yeah, up towards the northern part of Oklahoma, there's some pretty good riding there.
Right.
But
Right.
to go
but
from
it's also
one
part
side
of the experience.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have when you experience Oklahoma, then you really appreciate when you get to Colorado too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I mean, shoot, it's just like trying to plan any route.
Mhm.
You can't have everything perfect.
Right.
You're trying to get from one point to the other, and the only way you can do that is get through it all.
Mhm.
So, and that's kind of how we are. The adventure is the whole thing. It's not this much of it.
Right.
So, were there anything specific that you did to your bike, like the tires and the tubes? I know you talked about the tires, but what did you do for tubes? Did you just carry a bunch of tubes with you, or what did you do?
We actually used the New Tech tubeless system on both bikes. We didn't carry tubes with us at all.
No tubes.
I know it's
So what'd you
sacrilege.
What'd you carry to?
Just a tire plug kit.
Right.
And-
And how did they perform?
Excellent, actually.
Really?
We never had to deal with anything and never got a solid flat or anything. And I actually aired my rear tire down on my bike to 0 PSI for an entire day of almost 150 miles and
Wow.
never had an issue.
Wow. So you
That's
recommend them?
just to try it.
Just to try it. Wow. Was there any other part of the trip that surprised you?
I was actually really surprised with how much people would either come up and talk to us or how friendly. Like anywhere you went, there's usually someone at a gas station that would want to ask about what we're doing or what's going on. Several times at different places, like in Arkansas, some of the
Yeah.
locals would tell us stories about like War Loop Road and the story behind that. And then when we'd meet people, people just strike up a conversation. We met several other riders.
Yeah.
I'm still friends today with someone we met on the trail.
That's
Ended
awesome.
up camping out with him, and
It's great.
yeah, so it
That's
was really
cool.
good. And met some people
That's
that
what adventure riding's
would have
about.
never
Absolutely.
expected.
Yeah.
And,
We've met a ton of interesting people.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Ron.
fun making
Yeah, actually,
Right, Ronnie.
we met just randomly riding one day.
We did. Just riding one day, and then we just kind of hooked up.